The church takes this day to affirm and remind us that our goal, our destiny, our hope is to be counted among the saints. If you ever get a chance to visit the West Coast, see if you can get over to Los Angeles, the city of angels. And when you're there, stop by the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels. What you will see in that vast, cavernous space is one of the greatest achievements of modern religious art. It is truly something to behold, a celebration of the communion of saints. To begin with, that cathedral was designed to withstand earthquakes, so there's no big stained glass windows like we have here. Instead, the concrete walls are lined with tapestries. There's about 24 of them, soaring, larger than life, measuring between 14 and 20 feet tall. And in the tapestries, you can see all of the familiar saints whose names we all know, standing in a row, facing towards the altar, hands folded as if in line for communion. There's St. Nicholas, St. Gregory, St. Thomas Aquinas, St. Francis, St. Clare, and on, with their names right over their heads. It is literally and figuratively the communion of saints. And then you will realize something that you might not have expected. They all look just like us. The man who designed and executed those tapestries is the artist John Nava. He found his models everywhere on the streets of Los Angeles, in friends and in family members. He got help, too, from a Hollywood casting director. And in some cases, to make the images as accurate as possible, he was able to use death masks from some of the actual saints. His aim was realism. And as he described it, he wanted people to look at these saints and say, that saint could look like me. And then scattered among those figures in the tapestries are people who are unidentified. There's a teenage girl, young man from the barrio in blue jeans, children in contemporary clothes. They are the saints whose names are known only to God. It is an eloquent and inspiring depiction of the day that we celebrate today, All Saints. And the message of those tapestries is the message of this moment. These unknown saints are just as worthy as the ones we know, and they look like us. They look like people that we might pass on the street, because every single one of us has the possibility of becoming a saint. And this gospel from Matthew that we just heard, it tells us how we do that. Be poor in spirit. Be meek. Hunger and thirst for righteousness. Be merciful and clean of heart. Make peace. Does that sound familiar? Do we recognize who is being described here? We should. Pope Francis tells us the Beatitudes are a portrait of Jesus, his way of life, and the way to true happiness, and that we too can walk with the grace that Jesus gives us. This gospel tells us what that means, what it means to become like Christ, and by the gift of the Eucharist, to become Christ himself, to become his hands and his feet and his arms to the whole world, to become people of prayer and humility and love, to become men and women of grace who may one day even be considered blessed. This feast day calls us to be something more than we think we are. It reminds us that others have done this before us. This is our chance to make a resolution, to amend our lives, to imitate the saints by imitating Christ, to become what we receive this evening. And as we stand in line and prepare to receive him this evening, we pray to join that line of people, that communion of saints that are on the tapestry of that cathedral. We look to them and we find our eyes. And like them, our eyes are directed towards him, our model, our hope, our greatest desire, our salvation. We remember and honor the love and the devotion and the sacrifice of the saints. And we dream of where they are today. And so all you holy men and women